Hello, in this video we will walk through how to use the word accessibility checker. First, you'll need to open the document that you want to do an accessibility check on. And once you have your document open, navigate to the Review tab at the top of your screen. And then you will navigate to Accessibility and click Check Accessibility. This will open up the accessibility checker on the right side of your screen. Now, while the accessibility checker is a very good tool, it does not check for everything, and there are some manual checks that will be required for this document, which we will revisit later on within this video. So the accessibility checker will check for color and contrast, particularly if there's any hard to read text, media and illustrations for missing alternative text, tables for missing table headers, and the use of merge or split cells, and then document structure as well as document access. So we will navigate to the first issue here, which is color and contrast. So when we click on an error within the accessibility checker, it will navigate to that portion of the document. And as you can see here, Word gives us some options for better text contrast. I will just use this black color here, and that will automatically resolve the issue. And to know if the issue is resolved, we see that there is a blue check mark here. When there is a number next to the issue, that shows how many times that issue is occurring within the document. So now if we move on to media and illustrations, we see that there is an image with missing alt text. So if we click there, it will show us where that image is that does not have alt text. There is the option to generate alt text with AI, but I do not recommend this because it can be very inaccurate. So we will give this image our own alt text, and as we can see here, it is the Sierra College logo. And we can choose Save. I do want to note that there is also the option to mark an image as decorative. So if we go back to our image, right click, choose View Alt Text, and this happens to be a decorative image, we can then click in the checkbox here that says Mark as Decorative, and that will mark the image as decorative. The next issue that we have within our document is missing table headers. So if we click on that error, it will lead us to the table where there are no headers. And to change the headers, we want to go ahead and go to the top of our screen and navigate to Table Design and click in the checkbox Header Row, and that will automatically tag our header row. I do want to note if you have vertical headers, you will also need to mark first column, but because we only have header rows within this table, we will not need to do that. And then we also have the use of a merged cell within our table. And if we click on that issue, it will highlight where that issue is happening. So you can fix this with two different ways. So you can choose split cells here within our accessibility checker, or you can right click within that cell and choose split cells. Once you click there, this pop-up box will show up, and basically it's asking us how do we want to split the cells. So we have two columns here, so we just want to split it across the two columns, the grade and the points per unit. So we will just say okay, and that splits our cells, and that issue is resolved. So now we can see that there are no issues according to the accessibility checker, but there are some things that we need to manually check that the checker did not notice. The first element that we will manually check is headings. So if we navigate to the top of our page to Sierra Promise, we see here that Sierra Promise is bolded and it has larger text. Just because it's bolded and has larger text does not mean that it is actually tagged. So to tag the header, we want to navigate to our Home tab if you're not already there. And then under Styles, we will choose Heading 1. And if you're not able to see all the options, you can click on this drop down here and see all of the options here. But all Word documents should start at a heading level 1, and we will use heading level 2 for all of the headings that are nested within the heading level 1 or subsections of heading level 1. So for example, this partnering with high school students to remove barriers to college is considered a heading level 2. So if we just put our cursor right in the front of this text and navigate to styles and choose heading 2, we are then able to change it to a heading level 2. So there are no heading level 3s within this document, but if you do want to use a heading level 3, it must be a subsection of heading level 2. So now I'm just going to go through the document and tag all of the heading level 2s. Now, if you're not a fan of the styling of the headings, you can change what they look like after you have tagged them within your document. So for example, let's click within our Sierra Promise heading level 1. And if we right click on heading 1 and choose select all, it will select all instances of heading level 1 within your document, which you should only have one. And we will right click again and choose modify, and then in this dialog box you are able to change the color, the font size, the font type, and if you want to name it something different, you can change it all within this dialog box. And I will just show that to you again with the heading level 2. So if we right click within heading level 2 here in our styles and choose select all, it will select all instances of the heading level 2 in our document, and go back and choose modify. Then this box will show up again, and again you're able to change the name of the heading, change the color, the font size, and the font type. The next element that we want to check for is manually created list. It's very important to use the list button when you are creating list. Using the list button will allow for the screen reader user to navigate through the list easily. So if we click within our bulleted list, we can see here that the list button is used because it is highlighted here when we click within the list. But when we click within benefits, we see that that list button is not highlighted. So to go ahead and fix that issue, we will highlight all the items that should be within the list, and then we will click our list button here, and we're just going to use bullets because it is a list. It's not anything that requires you to do it within a specific order or instructions, so we will use the bulleted list. But you do also have the option to use a numbered list where necessary, and there is a drop down with different numbered lists like Roman numerals, and there are also different options for the types of bullets that you can use. Now, when we made this a bulleted list, we do still have these dashes here, but we can just go in and remove those. And this will make it much easier for your students to navigate the list within your document. So the next element that we will look for is long URLs or hyperlinks that are not descriptive. So descriptive hyperlinks are important for letting users know where they will be redirected to once they click the link. So using URLs that are really long or vague hyperlink text is not really best practice. So if we look within our document, we can see that we have a click here hyperlink. If it just says click here, we're not actually sure where that will lead us to. And if someone is using a screen reader and they're navigating through all the links within a document and they all just say click here, or they're really long hyperlinks, they won't really have any idea where it is leading them to. So the first thing that we want to do is right click within this link, choose edit hyperlink, and for now we are just going to copy the link that we have here and choosing OK. Now I know that this link will link us to a page where students can learn how to apply to earn college credit while they are in high school. And as we can see here, we already have the text here, earn college credit while in high school. So if we make this as a hyperlink, it will let students know where the web page is taking them. So to make this a hyperlink, we will go ahead and highlight that text, right click, choose link, and then in the address tab here, we're going to right click, paste that link that we copied in the other dialog box. And then I also want to note that there is a text to display, and this will be the text that is displayed with the link. And we'll choose OK, and that created the hyperlink. And now we can just go ahead and delete this click here to learn how. And now we have a descriptive hyperlink. The last element that I want to check on is the image. So if we select the Sierra College logo here, we see this box pop up on the side, and this is the layout of the image. It's important to note that if an image is not in line with the text but is wrapped around the text, a screen reader will ignore that image. So the best practice is to lay out this image in line with the text. So to do so, we will choose the inline with text option here. And yes, it will look a little wonky, but what you can go ahead and do is just put your cursor right here, right before this heading, and click the enter button, and that will fix that issue. And now we can see that our document is more accessible. We have gone through the accessibility checker and also did our manual checks.